How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to ConstantlyVariedFitness, and today's video we're going to talk about the difference between static stretching, dynamic stretching, and why I believe it's important for some of us to do static stretching before we work out. Now, for many of us growing up, whether we were doing sports or just regular PE classes, we did a lot of dynamic stretching before we did any type of activity. So what I mean by dynamic stretching is usually stretches that are held for very, very short periods of time, or something that you move very quickly through just to get that range of motion, kind of wake up your muscles and get a little bit of play inside those joints and those muscles. So what a typical dynamic stretch would look like, for example, high knees, butt kickers, karaoke, things of that nature are usually a very quick dynamic warm-up that'll kind of get your body loosened up and ready for whatever exercise you're gonna do. Or also something that's really short, like for example a quad stretch, where you grab your foot, pull it to your butt, and you push your hips open. You might hold that for like 5 seconds one side, 5 seconds the other side. You go and you bend over and reach your toes and stretch out your hamstrings for about 5-10 seconds one side, 5-10 seconds the other. And these are really short stretches that are good because even though you're elongating your muscles and your joints and getting them ready for whatever you're gonna do, it's still not stretching them too much to where now they're getting loose and flimsy and you are more susceptible for an injury, or you might not be as reactive and your muscles not fire as quickly as they would if they were a little bit tighter. And with that being said, that's the main reason why dynamic stretching is used before any type of activity. Even though you want your muscles to have that little bit of play and still have that mobility to do whatever you need to do and go through these different positions that you're going to go through in your activity, you want to make sure they're still tight and explosive and allow you to react quickly enough without any type of issue. Now with static stretching is anything where you hold a pose for anywhere from like 30 seconds, a minute, or anywhere upwards of 5 or plus minutes. The point of these stretches are obviously to elongate those muscles, those ligaments, those joints, and get that more range of motion. Because if you're someone, for example, that has really tight, let's say really tight calves, if you're not stretching them at all, your calves are just gonna get tighter, and you wanna make sure you have that elongated muscle fiber, so that way when you're going for a run, your calves don't tighten up really fast and it's restricting blood flow to that muscle. So all of a sudden you have this crazy calf pump 1 mile into your run. But going back to what we previously stated with the dynamic stretches, we don't want to stretch our muscles out too long and have this really loose muscle fibers before we do an activity. So static stretching is typically done after a workout, or if you don't have a workout, for several hours after you do those static stretches. That's when it's most approved of, because that way your muscles have time to kind of tighten back up a little bit more. Still not as tight as they once were, but they're a little bit tighter, so that way you can do the activities if you're gonna run, jump, swim, bike, lift weights, whatever you're gonna do. So to simplify it, dynamic stretches, really short, really fast stretches that you'll typically do before a workout. Static stretches are longer poses that you'll hold usually right after your workout or several hours before you have your workout. No, I believe that process 100%. Dynamic stretches should be done before your workout, static should be done after, but I'm gonna talk to you guys about why I believe a small portion of us, especially if you're newer to fitness, should be doing static stretches right before our workouts. Now, as a coach, I see people come into the classes all day long that are incredibly tight. It's their first week getting back into the gym and they haven't worked out in the past 4 or 5 years, or since they were in high school, or a day in their life. They've been sitting in a chair all day long, as for the past X amount of years at their job. They don't live active lifestyles, so they're moving a lot and still playing sports, so they're very sedentary, and it causes them to be tight in multiple different areas. And now with a sport like CrossFit, that makes it very difficult because we're hitting all these different crazy positions. We're doing front squats, overhead squats, we're doing a lot of pressing overhead, we're doing pulley movements, and because of all these different types of positions I want to get people in, it's very hard for me to really open them up and get them stretched out with just dynamic stretches alone. When people come into the gym, I don't care how much they lift, I don't care how fast they go, I don't care if I hurt their ego. My sole goals when they come to the gym is, one, staying safe, and by staying safe, they need to be hitting the right positions. So if someone's doing a front squat and their hips are super tight and their ankles are tight and they just have this really forward lean in their squat and it just looks atrocious, I don't want to load them up with a bunch of weight. I'm gonna keep the weight really light, so it doesn't matter. They don't need to be as explosive, as fast as someone that's a 2-3 year veteran and they're able to lift these heavy weights, or heavy back squats or heavy deadlifts. They've already built the range of motion needed that they can just get from dynamic stretching alone, so they don't need to be holding these long positions. But again, if I have Tommy in my class and he has absolutely atrocious front rack position, his ankles are really tight, and all these different things that are going to hinder him from hitting the right positions, I'm obviously not going to load up a bunch of weight. I want him, hey, before you start the class today, I want to make sure you do this ankle stretch for 2 minutes each side. I want you to roll out your lats. I want you to do all these different things that are going to really open you up and get you ready for the positions, because that way, once we're doing the full range of motion with a lighter weight, it's going to be much more beneficial than loading him up and he's not even getting below parallel in his squat. I 100% believe that position is more important than anything. I will tell someone straight to their face, hey, you need to take the weight off, or we're not going to go to this weight, because we're not doing the movement correctly. The movement is always the most important thing. It does not matter how much weight is on the barbell. If I have to hurt someone's ego, it is what it is. I want to make sure everyone's staying safe and moving properly, because that's going to lead you to steady growth later down the road instead of you plateauing or having the chance of an injury. So assess, are you someone that's new to whatever type of fitness you're doing, whether it be lifting weights, whether it be going running, swimming, you're doing Spartan races, whatever it is. If you're only a month or so in and you feel like you're really tight and you feel like maybe you're not moving correctly as someone else that's next to you that's been doing it for years is moving, maybe you should be doing more stretching. Not saying you should only do static stretches before your workouts. Do static stretches after your workouts. Do them before you go to bed. Do them when you wake up in the morning. Do them as often as you can. But for example, in my realm of CrossFit, when someone comes in for an hour-long class, and I know they haven't been stretching at home, I want to say, hey, for the next 5 minutes, you're going to hold this position, and I want to make sure we're feeling really good for the stuff we have ahead of us. Alright guys, that's where I'm going to end today's video. Leave any questions or comments you have down below. I'm also curious, do you guys do any stretching during your class period, or is stretching solely up to you guys? Do you only stretch before class or after your class? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe for plenty more videos. We have been constantly pumping out a bunch of content for you guys lately, so make sure you stay tuned for all that. If you don't already, follow us on Instagram at ConstantlyVariedFitness, and we'll see you guys in the next video.